Red's Fly Shop, this is Bob. How may I help you today?
Look at that. Woo! Hey, it's Joe at Red's again. I got a cool kind of experiment I did to share with you today. I got one boot of one type on one foot and one boot of another type on another foot. And it's basically a rubber versus felt comparison. I had been wearing, one set of boots one day and one set the other day, and I've been trying to figure out kind of which one offers, better traction in different situations. And then I thought, hey, you know what, I'm just gonna put one on one and one on the other. Naturally, we sell both these boots at Red's. Shop with us, I implore you to do so. It's what allows me to do the fishing channel and make the videos and etc. And of course, there's links to the boots in the video description stuff if you're looking for wading boots, or at least to make a decision. Now, I really like Korker's boots. I won't go into a bunch of detail, but 10 years ago, I wasn't as big a fan, but they have made their boots durable, effective, and on this boot, there is an interchangeable sole system, which Korker's is well known and famous for, so I can, either one, I can refresh the felt on this boot, or I can very quickly and easily plug in a set of rubber soles or studs, and it's convertible. This boot is a unique product from Korker's, and this is a new boot called their Chrome Lite. And it is not an interchangeable, it is just a rubber-soled wading boot. Now, you can click through to learn all about the rubber compounds and all the baloney, the scientific stuff about the sole, but I'm just gonna give it to you straight and kind of what I think about the sole. What I found with these boots, in wearing both of them side by side, I've been doing a bunch of wading and I've been in and out of the boat. The rubber sole, whatever this is on the Chrome Lite, whatever the fancy name for it is, has way better traction outside the river. So when I'm hiking over all these rocks and things like that, it's not even a comparison. This has a siped sole, it's like a deck shoe, amazing traction outside the river, far better than the felt. The felt I felt like was just slick. I mean, that's not even like an exaggeration. The felt in certain instances just slides right off the rock, where this rubber sole just grips and grabs much better. Now, in the river, what I found was I had to really sit and kind of test this, but I found that when I was on the tops of the rocks and just had a little point of contact, the felt was a little bit superior to the rubber boot, but it wasn't like a big difference. I actually had to like look at my boots to figure out which was which, because I couldn't remember if I had rubber on the left or rubber on the right. And I felt like in the river, it really wasn't as big a difference. So I don't know that I have like a decision for you, like, one's better than another, you should buy this boot. I think if you want to be able to change and have studs in your boots, and I'm not a huge fan. Yes, you can put studs in the rubber boot, but then you've got to take a screwdriver drill and pull them out. To me, I just don't do that. It's very impractical. So if you want to be able to swap soles and you want the same set of boots to have felt and rubber, the Devil's Canyon, the one I have the felt on, has been a fabulous boot. But if I was choosing just one boot and I had to stick with one boot and I didn't care about interchanging my soles, that Chrome Lite boot does offer really good traction. I'll be curious to see what it's like in a year or 2 years, because sometimes those rubber soles do kind of harden up with age and time, and they don't have that same tacky, grippy traction that they once did. But what I picture myself doing, and maybe I'll do a video review or follow-up, but in 6 months or so, I'll fish these into the fall and the winter, and I'll test the sole, and if it does get a little bit hard and slick and doesn't have that same traction, I'm willing to bet you could run like a piece of sandpaper over it real quick, or I bet you if you were just walking on gravel roads or hiking back to your car on pavement, that would rough that rubber up enough that it would come right back to life. If you spend a little bit of time hiking outside the river, I bet you it would rough that rubber up and to be tacky again. So if you have an old set of rubber boots and they're not providing the same traction as when you started with them, maybe try that. That would be a good experiment. So maybe that's an idea for a video in the future, but not a marked difference in traction. I think overall the rubber boot, the way I fish, I spend a lot of time, hiking on stuff like this and hiking up and down the river from hole to hole. And just even on like a sloped boulder like this, it's much better traction with the rubber than the felt, just because the felt doesn't actually have any tread or any grip or any friction in comparison to the rubber sole. So kind of a fun experiment. Like I said, it wasn't a huge difference in water, but definitely a big difference out of the water. You'll have better traction with that rubber sole on the chrome Lite boot than you will a straight felt sole.